Pablo, good to see you. How you doing? Paul, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Tor, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Evening. Good evening, Miles and CMF. What's going on? Let's go. How you doing, Tor? How you been? Thank you. 11 minutes. I'm the winner. Let's go, JP. Was I 11 minutes? I thought I was 8 minutes. Been a while. Had some personal issues. No problem, Paul. Good to see you. Camel, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? How you been? Pure, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening. Good to see you. Manny, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening. How you been? Camel, down or picking up soon? A little bit down, but would be picking up. Yeah. On Friday, we'll have a better idea on the market space. Due to the reports coming out, and also this whole Telegram situation is being blown out of proportion right now. So it is affecting the market. Also, Celsius bankruptcy has pretty much come to an end. They started giving out cryptocurrency. So we have that issue going on, the Telegram issue going on, and the reports coming out on Friday. So let's see for now. Dennis, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? JP631. Let's go. Hi, Miles. How's it going? Troy, good to see you. How you doing? I said 620 and not 631. JP just doesn't like to lose, Miles. Camel is the winner for sure. Okay, let's go through a gist of what we're going to talk about on tonight's live show. Welcome to the CMF live show. So on tonight's live show, we're going to be going through a mixture of news topics, including with Q&A in between and so on. So on tonight's topic, we are going to be talking about ETH-OS. So we know that there's a Solana phone, and it's quite a terrible phone. The only reason they did sales is because they were giving out free meme coins with it to make sales happen. But apparently there's a new OS coming. So we have Android, we have iOS, and now we're going to have ETH-OS, which we're going to go through on tonight's live show as well. We're also going to be talking about the Telegram situation, because I have an update on what's been going on, the progress on the Telegram situation. So we're going to go through that on tonight's live show as well, regarding TON, the TON ecosystem. We're also going to be talking about Binance and Nigeria on tonight's live show as well. There are so many things happening around the world right now, in every sort of market space, but even in the crypto market space, there's a lot of things happening that some people just don't talk about. So we obviously know that the Telegram and TON eco situation is, well over the news and everybody knows about it. But there's also one other thing that's happening on the scenes as well, which rarely anybody talks about, which is the Binance executives that are still stuck in Nigeria. So we're going to go through that on tonight's live show as well. There's some updates happening on that matter. We're also going to be talking about Satoshi. So the creator of Bitcoin is what we're going to be talking about tonight's live show as well. There's some matters on that. We're also going to be talking about the NASDAQ on tonight's live show as well, how the NASDAQ is aiming to list Bitcoin index options in the United States. We're also going to go through the news topic of blockchain database firm SXT. Nobody can invest into this project at all for the time being. They haven't opened their doors to the retail section whatsoever. But this project has been receiving quite a bit of funding. It's about $20 million in one of their series of seed raising money, and quite a list of big names are behind this crypto project. They've raised quite a lot of money for themselves. No retail money whatsoever. Only VC money has been funded into this project. We're also going to be going regarding the news topic of BlackRock on tonight's live show as well. BlackRock regarding Brazilian stock exchange. We're going to go through the news topic of Hong Kong on tonight's live show as well, how Hong Kong is embracing crypto up to massive scales, apparently, according to a new, essentially, sit-down that a Hong Kong member of the government had, talking about Web3 innovation inside of Hong Kong and blockchain innovation in general. We're also going to go through the news topic of New Zealand on tonight's live show as well. New Zealand is being prepared for their taxation in terms of cryptocurrencies. Now, when a country decides to introduce tax laws for cryptocurrencies, it means they're one step closer to essentially an actual regulation, which was also one step closer to fully going digital. Because once they have the tax sorted, they're pretty much good to go. We're also going to go through the news topic of Russia's central bank on tonight's live show as well, in terms of their CBDC, in terms of their crypto regulation policies that were recently legalized, and cross-border payments that was also recently legalized as well. So we have an update to go on from that matter regarding Russia. We're also going to go through the topic of CBDCs on tonight's live show as well, regarding why cash isn't that great and neither is CBDCs, but it's going to happen either way. So we're going to go through that news topic on tonight's live show as well. And we're also going to go through the news topic of Canada, the EU, and China. There's also what we're going to go through as well. So there's a bit of a dispute going on with EU and China, and now Canada has also got involved as well, which could hurt the financial markets, which is good to know about the updates of what's happening in terms of worldwide tensions that are going on that do affect market spaces. So welcome to the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, this is episode 141 of the CMF live show. Now on YouTube, it says episode 141, which is correct. On X, the title still says 127, which is wrong, because I can't get the title to change on X for some reason. The platform that I'm using called Restream is having issues with changing titles on X. That's what I've put the title here, so there's no more confusion. So this is episode 141. So welcome to the CMF live show. You can tune into this live show every single night at this exact same time you are watching me right now. I talk about the most recent things that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, vital information for you to know about the world completely transforming into a digital era. We also do live Q&As as well, which means you can get involved in the comment section. The comment section is a mixture of YouTube and X viewers, because I am live on both of them right now, as I am every single night. And the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So once again, welcome to the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, and if you're regular, let's go CMF. The live show has officially started now. And the first news topic we are going to be going through is regarding ETH. Now, we do know that there have been Solana phones out for quite a while right now, but Solana phones are basically Android phones with a few Solana apps on it. And Solana phones actually didn't do quite well in sales until Solana said they're giving out free meme coins with their phones, which made them sell out instantly. Now, the Solana phone 2 is also coming out very soon as well, which is pretty much also sold out as well. So it seems like Solana's not the only one getting involved in the smartphone space. It seems like Ethereum is also getting involved in the smartphone space. They're creating something on the lines of ETH. Now, is that just going to be, what we don't know for a fact is it just going to be another Android phone with a layer of ETH on top, just like the Solana phone is basically an Android phone with some Solana here and there in it? But is it actually going to be an actual OS that competes with iOS and Android? That should be interesting. So before we go through that first news topic on tonight's live show, we're going to go through the comment section first, just to say hi to everyone and see what's going on there. But the first news we are going to be going through is regarding ETH. So let's see where we were inside the comment section. We were at here. Denise, good to see you. So how you doing? Good evening, Miles of CMF. Come on, good to see you. So how you doing? Everyone is blaming me for you being late. I deserve 10 XRP for taking the heat. PM's surge speech today indicates that tax will rise and more of a profit taking. Yep. Any recommendations on reducing this, or we are doomed in the UK? So the UK, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, has said that the UK is going through some difficulties right now and that tax rise is on the way. So apparently the UK Prime Minister does not have money to sustain the United Kingdom, but he has a lot of money to send it overseas, which is the interesting part. Orphan, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good evening, Miles on CMF. Ian, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening, Miles on family. Glenda, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hello, Miles on CMF. Joe, evening, Miles on CMF. Good to see you as well. How you doing? Happy Pisces. Good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Lena, good to see you as well. Evening. How you doing? How you been? Mike, good to see you as well. Good day, Miles on CMF. Free and forever. Good evening, Miles on CMF. Good to see you as well. How you doing? Funky brother, good evening, brother Miles, and very hopeful family. Let's go. How you doing? How you been? Messi, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hit the like is what Messi says inside the comment section. Scott, hello, Miles of CMF. Good to see you as well. How you doing? I'm honest with you, Miles. I've just looked at the markets and I'm gutted and fed up as the BTC dropped by 6%. Don't worry, don't be upset. This is just how it is inside the market space. You should always enter any sort of market space with zero emotions. You're better off that way. I don't know when these markets are going to pick up again. Well, this Friday, we should have an indication. So this Friday coming up, we're going to get either a yes or a no regarding rate cuts. So this anticipation that we've been going through, is rate cuts going to happen? Is rate cuts not going to happen? We've had multiple executives and CEOs from different major firms around the world come out and say, are we going to be going through rate cuts? Some predict, yes, we're going to go through rate cuts. Some CEOs and executives predict, no, it's too soon for rate cuts. But what it is going to be happening is on Friday, this Friday coming, we're actually going to be getting some sort of a yes or a no from the Feds if we're going to have rate cuts. Then the market will have a better idea of which way it's headed, and so would you. So, as usual, one step up and two down. Let's go, funky brother. So let's go through the first news topic on tonight's live show, which is regarding ETHOS, which is a project coming out right now that is going to be competing with the Solana phone. So the Solana phone being an Android phone, just with some apps here and there, linked to Solana. In general, it was a terrible phone. It got the worst reviews from smartphone reviewers all over YouTube. But let's go through this news. Ethereum creator seemingly donated $517,000 to mobile project ETHOS. Vitalik Buterin has likely provided financial support to ETHOS, a project promoted as the world's first Ethereum mobile operating system. According to Arkham data, Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin sent 199.9 Ethereum valued at over $570,000 to Genesis Safe multi-signature contract. The leading speculation is that Vitalik Buterin transfer was a donation to the Ethereum phone project called ETHOS. Built by the developers at Freedom Factory, this open source initiative was essentially initially launched at a select Android devices in late 2022 and redeployed the following year. ETHOS is an Ethereum native mobile operating system that allows users to write blockchain code and deploy ETH-based decentralized applications on their smartphones. The team, formed in 2021, plans to release additional hardware offerings this year or next, according to official ETHOS website. Is ETHOS Ethereum's answer to the Solana saga phone? 15 years after the debut of the Bitcoin, the blockchain industry is focused on achieving mass adoption by providing easy access to Web3 and real-world utility. Integrating blockchain standards with mobile devices like smartphones has often been a challenge, but developments in recent years suggest progress. In June 2022, Solana Labs, the entity behind Solana, introduced the Saga phone device. The hardware was built on top of Android's OS and preloaded with Solana dApps, so like Phantom Wallet and so on. Slow sales at the beginning, initial cost out that the Solana phone's success, and the Solana took nearly a year to sell 20,000 units. However, Saga Phone 2 improved its track record, selling 100,000 units in pre-orders within a month. At press time, Saga Phone from Solana appeared to be ahead of the ETHOS, although the two projects have adapted different approaches to merging blockchain and mobile technology. The Ethereum and Solana blockchains have seen significant growth in the past year. If both ETHOS and Saga continue to develop, they may eventually become a fully fledged competitor in the blockchain mobile markets. So, if you ever wanted an ETH mobile operating systems, you can, essentially go to their websites and see what updates they're doing, what contracts they have, and maybe if you want to get involved in their projects. But according to Arkham Intelligence, which has former members of the FBI, former members of the NSA working in Arkham Intelligence, they're very good at finding out which wallet belongs to which entity or which third party in some cases. And they found out that Vitalik Buterin has actually donated to ETHOS, which is going to become eventually a competitor to Solana's Android phone. So let's see how that one goes. Now, moving on to the elephant in the room. So the biggest issue right now inside the crypto space is TON. So Telegram's founder being arrested recently has caused quite a lot of arguments, you can say, inside the political space and the crypto space. And we have some updates on the matter. So yesterday I was letting people know that Telegram's founder being essentially arrested lots of other things were happening behind the scenes where, Russia was having difficulties having communications with the French authorities. The French authorities didn't want to respond to the Russian embassies. And then you have India also opening up a separate case on the founder of Telegram, saying he's doing some other conspiracy theory situations. Is he going to get extradited later on to India? And then there was the other issue of Russian hackers hacking essentially French authority and government websites. So now we have an update more on this whole Telegram and Ton situation, which is UAE. The UAE essentially proposes that legal aid for Telegram. CEO aimed French investigation. Notably, the statement stressed that the UAE's top priorities are providing comprehensive care and safeguarding its citizens. There's more to go than the UAE, but we're going to start off with the UAE in the Telegram situation. As a result, the UAE ministry stated that it is keeping a careful eye on the essentially Pavel situation, that has taken steps to guarantee he gets the necessary counselor support. So the UAE is coming in favor of the Telegram founder, Pavel. French investigation expands to include multiple allegations. So on July 8th, when this essentially happened, on July 8th, 2024, there was a start of a judicial investigation connected to Pavel. So this is when all of this scenario of Pavel's Telegram founder being looked into and slowly getting to that arrest stage. So on July 8th, 2024, there was a start of a judicial investigation connected to Pavel. 12 criminal offenses are alleged in the investigation. These crimes include financial crime, drug trafficking, obstruction of justice, cybercrime, and technological regulations or violations. In addition, while the investigation was ongoing, Pavel's detention order has been extended by the Paris Public Prosecutor Office as well. He has not been officially charged with anything as of yet still. Notably, the Paris Judicial Court stated that the accusations being investigated include money laundering for a crime organization, operating cryptographic services without the required certifications, and conspiring to process illegal content. The investigation is being handled by the Paris Public Prosecutor Office Combating Cybercrime Unit, and Pavel is anticipated to stay in custody until tomorrow. So Pavel has to be released tomorrow. This founder of Telegram has to be released tomorrow, or he has to be charged. Either one has to happen. He has to either be charged or he has to be released tomorrow. So Macron's position and international reactions. French President Emmanuel Macron has clarified that the detention of Pavel is a result of independent legal investigations that is not being done for political reasons in response to the news. So a lot of Russian, essentially, government agencies are suggesting that this action is being taken because Pavel is a Russian citizen and they're doing this out of spite in terms of Russia. But Emmanuel was reassuring that this is not out of spite towards Russia, that this is a genuine investigation that's been going on since July 8th on Pavel, the founder of Telegram. Macron highlighted that France's commitment to preserving freedom of speech, emphasizing that these rights must coexist with a legal framework that upholds the right of the people. As a result, this stance represents France's dedication to striking a balance between personal liberties and legal requirements. However, Russian authorities have denounced Pavel's arrest as being driven by politics. They contended that the arrest exemplifies the discriminatory practices of the West with regards to freedom of speech. Russia is saying that France is stopping freedom of speech by taking down Telegram. Furthermore, Pavel's startup, Telegram, has defunded its methods. Telegram notes that Pavel routinely travels throughout Europe and claims to be compliant with EU laws. The desperate reactions from around the world draw attention to the complexities of Pavel's case, as well as his wider ramifications for legal procedures and diplomatic ties in the context of international cybersecurity and individual liberties. Now, what's also going on with the EU, so essentially with the UAE trying to get involved and trying to protect Pavel's rights, that's also happening. But also what's happening is, well, that Ton's entire community, which is nice to see that the Ton ecosystem, the Ton community, is standing behind Pavel. Ton Society demands release of Telegram co-founder Pavel with an open letter that they sent out to the EU. The Telegram Open Network Society has one clear message: free Pavel. Pavel, the co-founder of Telegram, was arrested in Le Bourget Airport on August 24th, sparking widespread concerns. But what does this mean for the rest of us? Standing up for freedom. Imagine waking up to find one of your champions of free speech behind bars. That's exactly how the Ton community felt when they heard about Pavel's arrest. In an open letter, Ton's ecosystem community sent an open letter demanding his release. So in an open letter, the society condemned this action as not just as legal issues, but also a blow to our basic human rights. They're saying this is beyond essentially the founder of Telegram. This is going against human rights. They're not just asking for his release, they're demanding it in an open letter. They've even called on global organizations like the UN and the EU to intervene. It's a powerful move showing just how serious they are about protecting their freedom of expression. They're getting the UN involved. The Ton ecosystem is getting the UN involved to free Pavel, the founder of Telegram. Why should we care? You might wonder why this matters to you. Well, think about it. If someone like Pavel has spent years fighting for our rights to communicate freely, this is what they said in their open letters. This is what the Ton ecosystem is saying to us, the retail section. They said, why would you care? You might wonder why this matters to you. Well, think about it. If someone like Pavel has spent years fighting for our right to communicate freely, can be detained like this, what does this say about the rest of us? It's not just about one man. It's about principles that keep our online world free and open. Even the European Court of Human Rights has backed the idea that encryption, something Telegram is known for, is essential for freedom of speech. So why is Pavel being targeted? The stakes are high. Despite all of this, French authorities aren't backing down. They extended essentially Pavel's detention, claiming it's a part of an investigation into illegal activities on Telegram. But let's be honest, people are not buying that explanation. Even the President Macron admits to downplay the situation, having eased concerns. In fact, it's made people more suspicious, and it's not just the crypto community that's worried. Tech leaders are watching this closely as well. Just look at Chris, the CEO of Rumble, who left Europe fearing he might be next, which is true. So what's next? The Ton society isn't backing down. They're calling other tech companies to stand firm against government censorship. Ton's ecosystem is doing quite a lot, contacting the UN, getting other tech firms involved. They're arguing that essentially Pavel isn't safe. None of us are. They're urging France to reconsider and let Pavel go. This isn't just a legal battle, it's a fight for the future of online freedom. As this story unfolds, it's clear that what happens next will have implications beyond France. In other words, censorship is on the way and it's beyond France, which is true. Now, here's the other thing. With essentially the UAE getting involved, Ton's own ecosystem getting involved, there's somebody else that got involved even more, which is Russia. So Russia is actually saying that this move didn't come from France, but it came from the US. So Russia's leading internet regulator suggests that the US was behind the arrest of Telegram's co-founder Pavel. The arrest, which took place on August 24th at the French airport, has sparked concerns that Washington may have been targeting Ton, the cryptocurrency. So Russian authorities are thinking on both sides. They're thinking this is political situation that's going on, and they're also thinking that Washington was the one that gave the order for Pavel to be arrested to put a dent inside of Ton's ecosystem because it was growing too quick, and it was pretty much, you could say, some sort of a Russian background project. And Ton was climbing that ladder very quick, to be fairly honest. Ton was climbing that ladder incredibly quick. So essentially Russia is saying, because Ton and Telegram are Russian type of scenarios. Now, Telegram's headquarters are obviously based inside the United States, and so, Telegram's so on. But the backings of Telegram, they're saying that they could have Russian ties, Russian money inside of Ton, and so on and so on. So they're saying that the order might have came from Washington to slow down Ton's progress and even put a dent inside the project, because apparently the US is suggesting that there are Russian money spinning inside of Ton, and they don't like the idea of Ton climbing those ladders too quickly. Which also goes back to what I said as well. I said this is a much more bigger playing field right now. I said yesterday on this live show that essentially we are talking about big names that are involved inside the crypto space right now. It's no longer the retail section inside the crypto space. We're talking about big names that want to take a big chunk of this market space. We're talking about Goldman Sachs is in the play. We're talking about Franklin Templeton is in the play. JP Morgan is in the play. DBS Bank, Switzerland Banks, and essentially BlackRock and Vanguard, and the list goes on. Amount of major institutional players right now that are inside the crypto space, and they don't probably like the idea of projects like Ton that have Russian money spending inside of them climbing the ranks too quick. They prefer those projects that they are holding on to, or those projects that they are funding behind the scenes, to do better. Because again, this isn't just the retail section inside the crypto space. We have more institutions inside the crypto space than ever before, a lot more. We also have more regulations and more banks inside the crypto space than ever before. This is an entirely different ball game, where it's now leading into greed and control and power when it comes to the crypto space. So that is where they are basing it on. The Russian authorities are suggesting that maybe the order even came from Washington to put an arrest on Pavel. France is claiming that they've opened up a case on Pavel since July 8th, but they're also, Russia's on the other side claiming that Washington was the one that gave the order because they didn't want Ton's ecosystem growing too quickly and climbing the ranks. Ton did climb the ranks incredibly quick, to be fairly honest. They obviously had some sort of money coming into an incredible rate. But this is getting bigger and bigger and bigger in terms of involvement of different jurisdictions, and in terms of who's actually behind of pulling the trigger on the whole Telegram and Ton situation. So this is definitely growing in terms of that. And the longer this case keeps on going on, here's the thing: if Pavel gets released tomorrow, then they couldn't charge him with anything, and he's released tomorrow, and he's pretty much good to go for a while. But if I was Pavel, if I was released, I would leave the EU straight away. I wouldn't even think twice about it. If Pavel gets released from the EU, if he gets released from France, his best decision will be to leave France, unless France puts a no-fly zone type of scenario on Pavel, where he's not allowed to leave the country for the time being. That will make things difficult. But in other words, the longer this case continues, the more of a dent it will put in Ton's ecosystem. But however, Ton's ecosystem is surviving for now, without a doubt. The Ton community is standing strong behind Pavel. They're standing strong behind Pavel, mainly because he stands for freedom of speech, and they believe in Ton's project. So as long as the community is still behind it, we are good. The longer this case carries on, we would have to see if the community is going to stand behind it even more. But for the time being, the community is standing behind it very strong. The community of Ton's ecosystem has sent a letter, an open letter to the EU, open letter to the UN, and some other agencies as well to get involved in this Pavel situation. So let's see. Tomorrow we'll find out if he's going to be charged or if he's going to be let go. Let's see. So just want to keep everyone updated on the matter, because Ton's ecosystem is absolutely amazing, my point of view. Absolutely amazing project. It's a shame what's happening to it, but we live in that world, unfortunately. Let's go inside the comment section before I tell you the next news. But the next news is regarding Nigeria and Binance, which is a topic that's nobody's talking about. But this is also going on behind the scenes as well. Binance is also having some difficulties with Nigeria for a while. Now that everyone is focused on the whole Telegram and Ton situation and so on, with him being arrested, but we also have a Binance executive who's also still arrested for no apparent reason by Nigerian authorities. And now Binance is getting fed up. And Binance is now getting very fed up, where they're asking the US government to get involved right now, because too much time has been wasted in their point of view. So Nigeria versus Binance, the Nigerian government versus Binance. The CEO demands US to get involved for employees' health crisis that is stuck in Nigeria. The ongoing lawsuit by Nigeria against Binance, the biggest cryptocurrency exchange, for money laundering and tax evasion seems intensifying. On August 27, 2024, Binance CEO Richard Tang requested the United States to intervene as the health of their Binance essentially employee and former federal agent who has essentially deteriorated while in custody in Nigeria. Binance employee's condition is critical right now in Nigeria. Additionally, the CEO of Binance called for political pressure on Nigeria. The CEO of Binance is calling the United States to put political pressure on the Nigerian government to release the Binance employee. So as Richard Tang is essentially is suffering from mental health issues and severe pain, and essentially is unable to walk due to the issues that he has going on in that prison cell. Despite all these medical issues, the Nigerian government has refused to provide him with adequate medical care or access to legal counsel. Looking at these medical concerns, the report noted that we strongly argue the United States government and citizens and organizations globally to exact public and political pressure to secure the Binance essentially employees' release on humanitarian grounds to protest against the Nigeria's unrest government. Now, Binance's money laundering case in February 2024, the Nigerian government detained two Binance employees, Tigran and Nemit, and on the charge of money laundering and tax evasions. However, both executives denied the charges. However, the report also noted that the Nigerian government also claimed that Binance was the one who was responsible for its currency decline. All of this issue that's going on with Binance essentially employees getting stuck in Nigeria, well, two of them were essentially stuck in Nigeria. One of them said, "Can I go in prayer?" And the Nigerian authority said, "Sure, we'll take you to prayer." And he escaped. When he went to prayer, he straight away escaped, and he saw that as his escape plan. The other one didn't think about going to prayer. So now the other one's just stuck. But all of this started because the Nigerian government invited two Binance executives or two Binance members to come to Nigeria and talk about Binance. When they landed in the airport, both of them got arrested. No questions asked. They both got arrested in Nigeria. And that was pretty much the beginning of the story. Now, why have they been arrested? Because Nigeria claims that Binance is the reason why Nigeria's currency has declined, which is the most absurd thing anybody can say. No government can blame any company for a decline of their currency, especially not Binance. Because the Nigerian government is the issue of why the currency isn't essentially worth much. It's the government's fault. It's got nothing to do with Binance. So for them to be blaming Binance for the Nigerian currency's downfall is ridiculous and incredibly absurd. So that's what's going on as well. But it's like nobody cares about Binance's situation and the Binance employees and so on that's still stuck in a Nigerian prison with no medical care, no health provider, no food provider, and so on. So that's also going on as well. But it's like nobody's looking into it. It's like the US government doesn't even care that as a Binance employee, a US citizen, by the way, who's stuck inside of Nigeria. I'll be honest. If Trump was in power, this would have never happened. A US citizen being stuck in a random prison cell somewhere around the world with no healthcare, no food provided, so on and so on. Do you think Trump will let that fly? If Trump was in power, the Nigerian authorities would have put that Binance employee on a first-class plane ticket straight to the United States. But because we have Sleepy Joe and Goldfish Kamala Harris in charge, this is what happens. Nobody respects the United States, and nobody fears the United States either. Now, Satoshi is the next topic we're going to be going through on tonight's live show. But before we go through that, let's go to the comment section first. But we are going to be talking about the creator of Bitcoin, mainly because something interesting has happened on that matter. But before we go through that, let's go to the comment section first. If you have any questions and so on, comments, put it down to the comment section. I read everybody's comments one by one, give sweet and short, simple answers. Can everybody see? The connection gone dark. Yep, can everybody see me? Okay, we're back. Okay, I was about to go Jason's comment and it just shut up. Now we're back. So let's see where we were. Jason, good to see you as well. How you doing? Jason Dawson. Jim is, when is XRP going to pump? 3 green lights. Is it safe to keep ton? It's risky, but you can still. George, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hi, Miles and CMF. How you been, George? Share this program with your friends and family. Let's go, Scott. Thanks so much for saying that. I'm tired of waiting. When is this bull run? You've still got to wait a bit. Scott, hello CMF on YouTube. How you doing, Scott? Good to see you as well. The United Arab Emirates has completely frozen the implementation of a contract to purchase 80 fighter jets from France following the arrest of Pavel. Let's go. Messi, thank you so much for the update. You can't have so much going on geopolitically in the world without it affecting the traditional markets and the blockchain crypto markets, of course. Things are dropping. Yes, that's facts. Let's go, happy Pisces. Absolute facts. Russia's cross-border payments goes live next week. Will they use XRP? We'll have to see. It's going to be off the books, though. So he is being charged or not? For the time being, no charges. Exactly what JP said. He may pay a fine, but he won't get charged. I'm guessing the same thing. He has to pay a fine. Regarding Telegram's founder, I mean, worst case scenario, it has to be he pays a fine, a slap on the wrist, and he gets to walk away. And then from then on, Telegram is being heavily censored. But I think this is more than the Telegram situation. I think it's genuinely the Ton situation. I don't think they like the idea of Ton climbing the ranks too quick. I think that's what the bigger issue is. They're using the Telegram issue to stifle Ton. The West has double standards as they preach democracy and freedom of speech, yet they ban us from having these rights. A bunch of hypocrites. I just want to buy a small island and live freely where I make my own rules. Let's go. Can the CMF fund me? Kamala is probably the one ordered it to put in prison. Miles, do you think the markets are down today because of Keir Starmer's speech? Not to a large extent, no. XLM's bump soon. Will go up soon. Is that what you mean? I would say wait until Friday to see what the market is going to be. But Keir Starmer's speech wasn't great for the market space either, to be fairly honest. Gone dark, we are back. Yes, Miles, you are gone too. What did you say? That's what I was saying. Miles, you're back. Let's go. Who shut off the lights? Let's go, Mike. I'm being asking the US to send me free from the CMF for years. And look, I'm still here. Let's go, JP. So, Bitcoin's which utility does Ton have? Data storage and the Web3. So Satoshi is what we're going to go through right now. So the creator of Bitcoin. Why are we talking about the creator of Bitcoin in 2024? Doesn't everybody know who the creator of Bitcoin is? Yes. So we're not going to be talking about who he is because nobody still knows, but nothing's a coincidence in this world as everything's coordinated. But what we are going to be talking about is his wallet transaction. So the founder of Bitcoin. Satoshi to lose Bitcoin crown by Halloween. According to the leading ETF analyst specialist from Bloomberg, Eric, he came out and said the mysterious Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto is expected to lose his status as the biggest holder of the leading cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. So who is going to become the biggest Bitcoin holder? Well, it's going to become the corporations. As noted by Eric, Satoshi now has close to 84% of the total Bitcoin holdings of Nakamoto. The red-hot investment products are now expected to overtake Bitcoin by Halloween. This impressive pace of inflows is faster than the initial expected, according to Eric. US spot Bitcoin ETFs now have 84% of the Bitcoin that Satoshi has, on track to have more and to take over the top spot by Halloween. US corporations, American corporations, are going to be having more Bitcoin in their wallets, essentially. By the time we get to Halloween, they're going to overpass the creator of Bitcoin in terms of having more Bitcoins in their wallets. As of August 27th, the US Bitcoin ETFs hold a total of 921 million Bitcoins plus 540,000. As reported by the U Today. Now, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF recorded a staggering $224 million worth of inflows on Monday alone. Satoshi Nakamoto is believed to hold 1.1 million, essentially, sorry, what was I on about? 921 million, 921,000. Let's just all pretend that wasn't there. I can't even edit this because this is live. What was I on about? 921 million, 921,000. Nakatomo is believed to hold 1.1 million. However, some analysts believe that these holdings might be overestimated. For instance, Satoshi come up with more than a modest estimate of roughly 700,000 bitcoins. Who are the top Bitcoin holders? The list of the top Bitcoin holders also include the Binance Exchange business intelligence firms, MicroStrategy, cryptocurrency trading platform, Bitfinex, as well as the US and Chinese governments. Still, it is not clear whether Satoshi has implemented some sort of dead man switch in order to pass on his wealth. If Satoshi's loved ones were to start their own inherited Bitcoins, this could end up being a major black swan event for the market. So what they're also suggesting is that Satoshi might have some sort of black switch where he could start a black swan effect. Okay, the corporations like MicroStrategy are climbing the ranks incredibly quick, but so is BlackRock, and so is the US government, and so is the Chinese government. Governments in general and corporations in general are climbing the ranks in terms of Bitcoin holdings quite rapidly as we speak. So by Halloween, they're going to be overtaking the Bitcoin holders' wallets. Now, is this going to trigger the Satoshi Nakamoto wallet, in Eric's words, to create a black swan event where he disperses them or sells them, for example, in some sort of a way? Eric is just coming out with some sort of conspiracy theories right now, but I'm not saying Eric is going to be correct in any sort of a way. He has been correct in some sort of a way before. In terms of market spaces, he's been correct in some sort of a way before. Now, but it also goes back to the whole control situation as well, regarding corporations and US governments and so on having so much essentially control of the entire market space in general as we move forward, because there are more banks, more institutions, and more regulations in place than ever before. Now, moving on forward from the Satoshi Nakamoto wallet, and maybe there could be some sort of black swan event when the corporations do pass his wallet, if he's a third party. NASDAQ. NASDAQ aims to list Bitcoin index options inside the United States. The United States Securities and Exchange Commission, NASDAQ, aims to list Bitcoin options tied to the CME-CF Bitcoin Real-Time Index, BRTI, a benchmark for BTC spot price according to an April 27th announcement. Pending regulatory approval, listing NASDAQ Bitcoin Index Options, XBTX, would mark a significant milestone for expanding the maturation of the digital asset market. Greg Ferrari, cool name, Greg Ferrari, NASDAQ's vice president and head of exchange business management, said in a statement, the news and the latest are in the fury essentially of activities around Bitcoin options inside the United States. In August, the New York Stock Exchange, New York Stock Exchange, and the NASDAQ International Securities Exchange, ISE, withdrew 4 applications with the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, related to potential listings of Bitcoin options in NASDAQ. On August 8th, the U.S. exchange CBOE filed an amendment application for Bitcoin options for the SEC regarding NASDAQ planned XBTX options, regarding launching them as a past proposal because they track a benchmark index rather than an exchange-traded fund ETF. Bloomberg predicts that the BTC options go live in the 4th quarter. So Bloomberg specialist ETF analysts are predicting that essentially Bitcoin options is going to be listed on NASDAQ towards the end of this year. There's definitely some movement on Bitcoin ETF options. Bloomberg intelligence analyst James said in an August 8th post on X that the SEC is likely giving some sort of a feedback soon. Options are contracts that grant the right to buy or sell, call or put in order in terms of underlying assets on a certain price. They are commonly used as hedging instruments and are popular with spectacles too. The Chicago Market Exchanges Group announced plans to launch a bit-sized Bitcoin futures in September tied to the same benchmark. Investors in the US are currently permitted to trade options on ETFs and track the performance of BTC but on ETFs that are physically hold Bitcoin themselves. Cryptocurrency derivatives on regulated exchanges are soaring in popularity inside the United States. As of August 20th, open interest in CME BTC futures contracts from the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, CFTC. Each CME Bitcoin futures contract is sized at 5 Bitcoins, individual Bitcoins. Open options interest on BTC futures ETFs measured by the notion of value of active and call and put contracts exceeds $3.2 billion as of the market closes on August 9th, according to data from Open Options Clearing Corporations and Industry Self-Regulatory Organizations, SRO. So Nasdaq is going to be listing Bitcoin by the looks of it soon if it gets a green light from the SEC. According to Bloomberg specialist ETF analysts, it could be somewhere near the end of this year we could have Bitcoin on the Nasdaq, which opens more doors for Wall Street to get involved inside Bitcoin, but also, brings that confidence in towards cryptocurrencies in general. Now, a blockchain project which nobody can invest into right now because they're only accepting some sort of seed money from venture capital companies. And VC companies are head over heels for this company, which is a blockchain project, which we're about to go through right now. Blockchain database firm SXT Labs raises $20 million in a Series A round. Space and Time Labs has announced a $20 million Series A funding raise led by Framework Ventures. The company is working on verifiable computing layer, combining artificial intelligence and blockchain technology together. Several venture capitalist firms have also contributed to this round, including Lightspeed Fraction, Argoton Capital, Hemvid Capital, as well as Microsoft's M12 Ventures is also involved in this project, DCG, F Prime Capital, OKX Ventures, Circle Ventures, Alumni Ventures. So many VC companies are investing into this blockchain company, but they're not out for the retail section to be doing any sort of investments or even have a token for the retail section to be going into it for the time being, but they are a blockchain company. To date, SXT Labs has secured $50 million in fundings to accelerate engineering and product developments. SXT Labs has reportedly spent the last 2 years building its proof of SQL, a zero-knowledge ZK circuit that provides smart contract developers and companies with capabilities to verify data integrity in a digital world. In decentralized finance, DeFi, for instance, the solution could be used to verify the credibility of borrowers based on real-time data to track the performance of assets. The startup data warehouse allows both indexed blockchain data and centralized databases to be analyzed using SQL queries, thus providing a way to verify the integrity data and operations on and off-chain. In beta, since April 2023, the proof of SQL stack has reportedly processed over 5.3 billion worth of database requests, with an average of 500,000 queries per month. According to OKX Ventures, the technology has generated over $4.5 million in annual recurring revenue and can be indexed on popular chains such as Ethereum, Bitcoin, ZK Sync, Polygon, SUI, Atobis, and SEI. The blockchain space has witnessed a surge of protocols developing similar solutions to enhance on-chain infrastructures as the industry evolves and attracts more institutional players. Pi Square, for example, is also developing a ZK circuit for universal settlement layers for blockchain transactions. The startup recently closed $12 million in funding roundings led by Polychain Capital. We believe this will realize the vision of blockchain technology, a word that doesn't have to rely on trust, which will be more important than ever as AI continues to accelerate, said Nate, the co-founder and CEO of SX Labs. So nobody can get involved in this crypto project whatsoever for the time being from the retail section. But for now, they're only getting investments coming in from VC companies in general. So, I mean, one of the VC companies being Microsoft, which is a big name to be funding this blockchain project in general. They've been in beta test mode since 2023, but they've processed quite a lot of data, in the billions in terms of data. But it's definitely a project that I will keep on my notes and, update everybody on how far this project reaches and if they will ever open their doors to the retail section, if they have so many big names already funding them. So far, they've raised $50 million from major venture companies out there inside the market space. But I'm still going to be keeping an eye on it just in case they do open their doors to the retail section and keep everybody updated on this live show. So that was the blockchain project, SXT Labs. Now, next news we are going to be going from tonight's live show is regarding BlackRock and Brazil. particularly the Brazilian stock exchange. Let's see where we were inside the comment section before we go through that news. By the way, this is a live show, so again, once again, if you do have any comments, put it in the comment section. I'm reading everybody's comments one by one. So TON can recover? It can, yes. As long as they let him go, it can recover. What up, Miles and family? Hope all is well, though. Ray, good to see you. How you doing? How you been, brother? That's what I thought, as they are only 21 million in total. Yeah, I don't know why I said that for a second. It shows we pay attention. Yep. What's up, Miles and CMF? Any XRP news on the market? One, Neyman. So a blockchain bank project by the name of Neyman, who is still a partner of Ripple, partnered with JP Morgan to enhance and essentially expand into the banking space. But Neyman is a partner of Ripple that uses Ripple's technology, and they're partnered with JP Morgan. They're based out of Singapore. So there's a little update on Ripple's movements. Black Swan events on which scenario? So bloody Black Swan event every month, as BTC Charles or Funky Brother said. Miles, can you explain me something about that dip? Which dip? The dip that's going on right now? Well, the dip that's going on right now, there's multiple reasons why we have a dip. Okay, one reason why we have a dip inside the crypto space right now is the market is still anticipating rate cuts, yes or no, this Friday. The second reason why we have a dip inside the market is because of this whole Telegram situation regarding Tom's ecosystem of governments getting involved, political movements. The third reason is also the United Kingdom government right now has announced that the UK is going through some difficulties, and we're going to have major tax raises and so on. The fourth reason that the market is still down today as well is also because Celsius has just released essentially a update on their matter of bankruptcy. They've just started refunding people up to $2.4 billion in cryptocurrencies is being refunded to people. The fifth reason that the market is still down today is because MT Gox is still refunding people as we speak. And there's more reasons as well. Well, Binance situation is essentially still going. There's so many situations right now happening around the world. Too much is what's going on right now. Miles, I believed in big price surge once the case ended. Now I understand all the reasons why it didn't go up, but friends and family that are not involved are getting worried. I said, if you want to sell, just give it to me, and I'm good for the money, but still trying to talk them and staying. Don't go into panic mode is what I would say. Never go into panic mode. You've got to understand there's a 30-day period for them to pay $125 million. There's also a 60-day period for the appeal, just in case that they do appeal. It's going to get rejected anyways, but just in case they do appeal. And also, there's the other situation is it still needs 3 green lights. I mean, it's got 1 green light, still needs 2 green lights. That was never out of the question regarding XRP in general. It still needs 3 green lights in general to get off the ground completely. In terms of regulations, is the next green light, and the other one's adoption. And I also said a very long time ago that imagine the case ends and nothing happens. And I said, imagine nobody daps it and all the banks start using it and so on, and it's just part of the play. So don't fall for it. And I said, frustration is going to be the last step on XRP. I said this to everybody a long time ago as well. I said, imagine case ends and nobody starts using it, nobody uses XRP, the banks don't adapt it and so on. And I said frustration is going to be the last step they essentially use on the retail section to get out of the positions. So I said, don't let frustration get involved. Don't let emotions get involved in general. I've always said to you, frustration is always the last step. Don't ever let it get to you. The interesting thing is that if they let Pavel go, TAN will have a great increase of interest because many people never heard of it before this arrest. True. So much for slowing the TAN network down. This might speed it up because people are standing behind TON right now. And the TON ecosystem is still standing very strong behind the crypto project. But, I mean, the worst is he has to pay a fine and stop censoring Telegram. That's all he has to do. So if the issue is Telegram, if the issue is genuinely Telegram, then, he pays a fine to the French authorities and he starts censoring Telegram and he's, let to go as a free man. If the issue is bigger than Telegram and it's more related to TON's ecosystem is where the issue lies. So if it's bigger than TON, essentially, if the issue is bigger than Telegram and it's actually to do with TON and how TON is climbing the ranks and how TON can have Russian money spinning inside of it. So we'll have to see where the issue is where they're really aiming it. Are they aiming it at Telegram or is it another you know, off the scenes types, because it's never what it is on the scenes. It's always what it is off the scenes. So is the Russian authorities right on the matter of they're trying to do this to stifle Ton, not Telegram? And why is the Russian authorities getting involved protecting Ton? Do the Russian authorities have money inside of Ton? Is that why the Russian authorities are coming out and saying, you know, why are you doing this to Ton? Why are you trying to stifle Ton? Why is Russia even getting involved or emotional about Ton? So is it about Telegram, or is it a bigger picture behind the scenes of they're trying to stifle Ton because it has Russian money spinning inside of it? And the reason why Russian government authorities are getting emotional about Ton instead of Telegram is because they might have money spinning. They might have money spinning inside of Ton. So we have to see where the issue lies. Is the issue Telegram, or is the issue Ton? Or is the issue both? So much for, yeah. Good to buy now. Regarding Ton, let's see where it lands on tomorrow. Tomorrow he has to either be released or charged. Well, or I mean, if they want, they can extend it, but that's going beyond human rights. But at this point, I mean, human rights is just an illusion. Miles, is it true that adoption of XRP starts in October, and why? No, rumors. I know all that, but to them, my words are just that. Although I am talking based on contracts. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. No, people that think with their emotions, and pretty much people that think with their emotions should never get involved in any sort of market space. I've said this a million times as well. Don't. It's good to get people involved inside the crypto space, but also make sure they're emotionally ready to enter any sort of market space. Stock market or crypto market, you should be emotionally ready to enter any sort of market space, which is zero emotions. And you know, frustration is one emotion that you should not let get a hold of you, because you start pulling bad moves inside the market space and, you know, selling your positions and so on. Like the guy who spent $250 million buying 2 pizzas from Domino's because he never thought Bitcoin was never going to go up either. And now he's stuck with 2 pizzas from Domino's, and the world celebrates the Bitcoin Pizza Day because of that one moron who sold his position, and because he thought that project was never going to go up either. So don't let frustration kick in. It's a very bad part. And frustration is always the last step that kicks in. So you go through all the emotions inside the market space, and the last one is always frustration. When is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? It's never going to happen. It's never going to. And then you sell your position, and then you become that moron and got left behind. So don't let frustration kick in. Otherwise, you're going to be that one moron who sold his Bitcoins for 2 pizzas from Domino's and a Pepsi. Regarding XRP. Yeah. Oh, regarding XRP, Miles, is it true the adoption regarding XRP in October? No, people just spreading rumors. Well, if it gets the green light regulations, then yeah. Now, BlackRock is the next news topic. Come on, I'm hoping that helps, but don't let frustration kick in. And never enter, and tell them, you know, never enter any sort of market space. It's good to get family members involved in cryptocurrencies, but you have to make them fully, you know, prepared for zero emotions. It's good to get family members involved inside the crypto space, but always tell them that you've got to have zero emotions entering the crypto market or a stock market or any sort of market space. So it's good to get family members involved inside the crypto space, and, you know, to work alongside family, but please make your family members aware of that. Have zero emotions entering the crypto markets and stock market, any sort of market space. Have always zero emotions. I'm being honest, only 5% of those I helped is invested in information as well as XRP. Let's go, Camel. But don't worry. Just don't let frustration get in the way. BlackRock. BlackRock lists Ethereum ETFs on Brazilian Stock Exchange. In Camelhead, better advise, because she can't think of this herself, if she helped the finance executives in Nigeria and freed him, it would catapult her ratings. Kamala. It would, definitely, yes. Is ICP good? It's an all right project. It's not something I would go for in any sort of a way. I said this a very long time ago. ICP is not a project that I would put in my top 10 in any sort of a way at all. But it's a project that if you want to look into, maybe see as potential for you. Personally, there are other projects that are better and have more contracts going on. but it's an all right project. It's not a scam project. It's not a, essentially incredibly bad project. There are so many incredibly bad projects inside the crypto space and terrible projects inside the crypto space, but it's not in my top 10, is what I've always said. It's not a project I would go towards to. There are better projects out there. And everybody knows my categories. Number one category is finance. Number one category inside the crypto space is data. What can you tell me about ACH? ACH being inside the finance category, which is one of the best categories to be in. The number one category inside the crypto space is the finance category. ACH has multiple money transfer licenses inside the United States and pretty much worldwide basis. They also have a partnership going on with Visa. They also have a partnership somehow going with MasterCard as well. They've essentially been utilizing their technology in African nations as well, because the continent of Africa is expanding quite a lot into blockchain Web3 technology. They have some sort of firms going on in Singapore as well. They have contracts going on with major firms that are doing payment relays in terms of cross-border payments as well. They have off-ramps and on-ramps in terms of fiat connecting to cryptocurrencies as well. In general, ACH is an incredible project. The magnitude of contracts ACH has is incredible. The magnitude of money transfer licensing it has on a worldwide basis is also incredible. UAE cancels big fighter jet order from France is excellent. Let's go, Leroy. Since his arrest, Telegram's downloads jumped to number 2 inside the United States and number 1 in France for social networking. It's not all bad for exposure anyway. Yes, that's also true as well. Can you name some projects? The projects that I will name are projects that most likely you hold inside your crypto wallets. But I can list projects for you on Telegram, no problem. If you go to Jim, if you go to Telegram, if you go to a Telegram group of this live show, my portfolio is on Telegram. If you want to check through the projects that I'm holding and, do your own research, look into each one of them and see which one fits best for you to be going into them. But my entire portfolio is on Telegram. Telegram group of this live show, which by the way is free if anybody hasn't still joined it. It's completely free. But it's inside the pinned comments. Now, BlackRock. So Jim, I would suggest going and checking it out. I hold quite a lot of projects on my portfolio, a ridiculous amount of projects on my portfolio, but I've been holding and buying and so on for a very long time. Now, BlackRock. Essentially BlackRock lists Ethereum ETFs on the Brazilian stock exchange. BlackRock will list its iShare Ethereum Trust, ETHA, on the Brazilian B3 exchange on Wednesday, according to local media outlets, Portadillo Bitcoin. The ETF will trade under the ticker code ETHA39 as the Brazilian depository received a certificate that represents a shares of foreign companies traded in the South American countries, the BDR. The launch of the ETHA39 now allows investors to have access to the 2 largest cryptocurrencies by market capitalizations, said Nicholas, BlackRock's head of ETFs in terms of index investments and products of Latin America. In March, BlackRock's iShare Bitcoin Trust ETF IBIT also started trading on the Brazilian stock exchange as well, which has become a solid market for institutional products beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum. The Brazilian stock exchange CVM also recently approved 2 Solana-based ETFs as well to be listed on the B3 exchange. In August, BlackRock's ETHA surpassed $1 billion in cumulative net inflows inside the United States as well, becoming the first of the 11 issuers to cross that market in terms of net inflows. So BlackRock has just expanded its reach of its Ethereum ETF in the Brazilian stock exchange, which is quite a milestone for them to be doing that. They have essentially, BlackRock has expanded its range in terms of their ETFs in multiple jurisdictions, mostly for Bitcoin, but it's nice to see that doing it for their Ethereum and following on the rest of the ETFs that do come around. All of this will just bring more attention to the blockchain space, and more companies within South America will feel more comfortable entering the crypto space with ETFs as their baby steps and then expanding into the world of blockchain. Now, Hong Kong. Hong Kong's crypto embrace. From green bonds to spot Bitcoin ETFs. Hong Kong, for a very long time, wants to become a cryptocurrency hub for an incredibly long time. So Hong Kong is quickly becoming a major player in Web3 world. According to Yat Seo, CEO of the leading digital property rights firm, in a podcast, Seo observed that Hong Kong is establishing itself as the forefront of Web3 development not just by advancing regulatory frameworks, but also by enabling the trading of tokens through licensed exchanges. He added that Hong Kong was ahead of the curve on spot Bitcoin ETF futures, approving an Ethereum ETF before the United States, for example. Xiao Feng, chairman of the Hong Kong crypto exchange Hashkey, shared CEO's views as well. Feng highlighted the government's dedication to making Hong Kong an international virtual asset center. This commitment was evident in the strong attendance in the recent Hong Kong Web3 festival, which drew 13,000 participants on the opening day. Earlier this year, Hong Kong's monetary authorities helped launch a $800 million tokenized green bond, Hong Kong dollars. This was the first government-issued tokenized green bond worldwide that happened in Hong Kong. Hong Kong's early approval of spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs shows its intentions to a leader in digital asset markets. The launch of these ETFs follows similar moves inside the United States, with Hong Kong's regulators also looking into the possibility of Ethereum ETF staking. The one thing the United States cannot offer because of Gary Gensler and the SEC is Ethereum staking for Ethereum ETFs. So Hong Kong has decided to compete with the US markets by offering Ethereum ETF staking, something that Gary Gensler is against. The city's adventurous position as a global financial hub, combined with interest firms, the Chinese capital inside the cryptocurrency sector, strengthened its growing influence inside the area. Financial security Paul Chan recently remarked that despite market volatility, now is the time for Hong Kong to invest into the Web3 economy. Despite what's going on inside the market space, now is the time to invest into the Web3 economy, is what Hong Kong said. With the volatile stage we are at right now, with the geopolitical tensions rising as it is right now, is the perfect time, Hong Kong suggested, to enter the crypto market space and become a hub, which it is. Times like this is when, things are created and developed and set up. In June, Hong Kong started accepting applications to license virtual asset service providers and is actively exploring stablecoin regulations. That same month, the region also unveiled a task force dedicated to fostering Web3 developments, chaired by Chan and made up essentially of experts from various sectors. This approach aligns with Hong Kong's FinTech 2025 strategy, which aims to adapt fintech comprehensively by 2025, that aim to promote a fair and efficient financial services to benefit Hong Kong's residents and economy. So Hong Kong is still en route to reach that goal of becoming a crypto hub. They're actually thinking about, one, to introduce Ethereum staking for Ethereum ETFs, which no jurisdiction offers. If Hong Kong offers this service for Ethereum ETF staking, it's either going to get the US to approve some sort of a way as well on Ethereum staking, or we could actually see some transactions coming in for Ethereum in terms of ETF inside of Hong Kong because they're offering Ethereum staking. You're making more money on top. Why not would be the answer for any investor. Because as an investor, you always want to make more on top of your money. So if you have one Ethereum ETF, which is offering you nothing except an Ethereum ETF from the United States, and then on the other option, you have an Ethereum ETF with a staking capability, so which means you can make more on top. So why would you not take option number 2? Because you can make more money on top. It's always about squeezing more out of it. So this could actually help Hong Kong to maybe take the ranks on Ethereum ETFs if they do introduce it. New Zealand is the next news we are going to go through on tonight's live show. Moving on from the Hong Kong news to New Zealand. New Zealand to put OECD crypto tax frameworks in place by April 2026. New Zealand plans to have the Organizations for Economic Cooperations and Development's OECD crypto reporting frameworks in place by April 2026, according to a policy document on Monday. Amendments to make the framework law were set at the taxations of annual rates for 2024 to 2025. Emergency responses and remedial measures bill commentary by the Minister of Revenue Simon Watts. The OECD of the standards of setting body approved the reporting framework in 2022. Back in 2022 was the first initial reportings of essentially New Zealand going towards this digital future. The measures are meant to help ensure firms provide tax information on crypto assets transactions in a way that allows the information to be exchanged easily. The framework was constructed to fight against international tax evasions. The body said at the time, New Zealand-based crypto asset service providers would have to collect information on their users' transactions starting April 1st, 2026. The document said firms will have until June 30th, 2027 to report their information to the Inland Revenue. Now, just to point out, New Zealand did say by 2026, which means it could happen much more sooner as well, which most likely it will happen a much more sooner time. But when any jurisdiction introduces the idea of taxation on cryptocurrencies, it just means they're getting prepared to legalize it, because if they can tax it, they will legalize it. That's just how things work in this world. Once they can tax it, it's pretty much legal, which means more transactions. Volume of transactions will exceed, depending on what cryptocurrencies people in New Zealand start buying in terms of retail section or the corporate section. Now, Russia is what we're going to talk about next. Moving on from the New Zealand news to Russia's news. But before we go through Russia's news, let's go to the comment section, see where we were at. Can you? No, I was there. And there is freedom of speech on a Telegram group. Law. Yeah, there's actually, inside the Telegram group of this live show, you have freedom of speech. Don't worry. Everybody has freedom of speech inside the live show of this Telegram, which is called the Crypto Mouse Family, if you search for on Telegram. But the link is also on X on YouTube, depending on where you're watching this from. Sorry, Miles, very late on tonight. I'll watch the recording tomorrow to see what I've missed so far. Adi, no problem. Good to see you. How you doing? So, Russia's central bank to legalize crypto for qualified investors. The Bank of Russia is considering amending the law to introduce a new category of particularly qualified investors. So recently I told everyone on this live show that Russia is introducing two sets of exchanges. The St. Petersburg blockchain exchange and the Moscow exchange is going to go on the blockchain frame as well. And Russia has also introduced essentially the legalization of cryptocurrencies for cross-border payments and so on. So Russia's gone back to the drawing boards and is thinking about amending some of their laws. Why? Because they're actually getting very close to cross-border payments, but they don't want everybody doing cross-border payments. They want qualified investors to only have access to cryptocurrencies, not everyone. So by qualified investors, it means the corporates. The Bank of Russia, the central bank of Russia, is considering amending the law to introduce a new category of particularly qualified investors, which would allow these individuals to trade crypto as the country explores the use of this currency for cross-border transactions. So Russia has gone from cross-border transactions to some people in Russia can do cross-border transactions. And by people, they mean companies. So retail section cannot be using cryptocurrencies inside of Russia because they most likely won't be qualifying for qualified investors by the Central Bank of Russia to be able to do cross-border payments for cryptocurrencies. But the corporates most likely will be able to do cross-border payments because that's all that matters for them, for the corporates to be able to do cross-border payments, to get the supplies in so the demand is there, to get the economy up and running. So particularly qualified investors, which would allow these individuals to trade as the country explores the use of the currency for cross-border transactions. The central bank officials indicated a possible shift in the nation's stance on cryptocurrencies. They disclosed that they're complementing the possibilities of permitting a limited group of specialist qualified investors to participate in buying and selling cryptocurrencies, all after the potential risks are analyzed. A change in legislation would be needed in Russia if this is going to be happening, because Russia just legalized cross-border payments. Now they're going to go back to the drawing board and put some people can only do cross-border payments, not everyone. And by people, again, it's governments and essentially corporations. Currently, there is no legal framework defining these investors, but the central bank is reportedly considering legislation changes to establish this new category. The Bank of Russia is also showing openness to the use of stablecoins for international trade, provided they meet certain criteria. According to Guzunov, if a stablecoin is backed by the obligated party and resembles digital financial assets, centralized token, essentially assets, issued in Russia, then it can already be used for cross-border settlements under current laws. However, managed stablecoins without a backing entity would be treated as cryptocurrencies and would require experimental regimes for cross-border use. So, Russia wants to see transparency before they start using stablecoins. One particular crypto project has difficulties with transparencies, but they have to hold some sort of money inside of Russia for them to be able to do transactions. So if a stable coin wants to do transactions with Russia, if a stable coin is going to be used, like for example, Tether, if USDT is going to be used in Russia, then Tether needs to hold some sort of value in Russia for Russia to say, yes, you have backings and now we can use you. Same thing the EU said. Russia's CBDC project. This news comes shortly after the Bank of Russia announced plans to launch its central bank digital currency. The digital ruble will, by July 2025, following the following successful pilot tests that have happened in Russia in terms of the CBDCs, will be rolling out. The rollout will be gradual for the CBDC of Russia in 2025, with full implementation is expected to take 5 to 7 years, depending on public and business adoption. Russia's central bank has been piloting its CBDCs, the digital route, for 12 local banks since August 2023. Testing digital wallets and transfers, this blockchain-based digital currency is intended to complement existing forms of rubles. So, Russia is changing their laws for cross-border payments by the looks of it. The central bank is going to be amending the laws, and what it was standing before was cross-border payments, cryptocurrencies, Russia's good to go. Now it's going to be changed to some people can do transactions for cross-border payments for Russia, not everybody. And the central bank of Russia is the one amending this change inside the law right now, or writing up the paperwork for it to be processed for essentially Putin to be signing the bill on it. But there are some law changes happening in Russia in terms of who can actually do cross-border payments and who can't. Now, paper money. Paper money isn't a fix for central bank digital currency CBDCs. Now, everybody's fully aware of what CBDCs are and how bad CBDCs can get. And a lot of people are suggesting that they would rather stick to cash, and that cash is king, and they would rather just stick with cash for the rest of their lives, as long as they could possibly. And many things that they're not understanding is that cash is already not accepted in a lot of places, but another thing is that cash is getting devalued quite rapidly. So the longer you hold that cash, the more worthless it becomes over time, no matter how long you want to hold on to cash and still claim that cash is king. The issue with that statement is the longer you hold it, the more worthless it becomes over time because they're printing too much. So it goes to this. Paper money isn't a fix for central bank digital currencies that a lot of people claim to be. There has been quite a bit of a pushback against governments and central banks around the world as they seek to introduce central bank digital currencies. But in scramble to block CBDCs, some people seem to have forgotten that there is more fundamental problems at stake. Government-issued paper fiat is the parent of a CBDC, which is facts. Fiat has just basically given birth to CBDCs in a very simple way to put it, is what this term is here. So paper fiat money is the parent of CBDC. And whether it is physical or digital form, fiat currency isn't real money either. Nevertheless, a lot of proposals to stop CBDCs simply involve incentivizing the use of paper money as an alternative. While physical paper money does solve some of the privacy and security issues inherent in CBDCs, which is facts, cash does, have that protection of privacy where nobody knows who's using it and so on. It is not a pancreas because it doesn't resolve the fundamental problems inherent in fiat systems. So cash paper money solves one problem, privacy, but it doesn't solve the other problem, which is it's becoming worthless over time, cash paper money. So as the push to implement CBDCs intensifies, opponents are lobbying for policies to preserve the right to use cash, primarily in the form of US dollars. This makes the sense of the surface. If people have the option to use physical currencies, they can simply avoid a CBDC and inherit control. Essentially, it would provide government actors. But to minimize the impact of CBDCs, many have lost sight of the inherent problems with actual fiat paper money. As George Mason put it, The laws making paper currency a legal tender have produced great and enormous evil, is how George Mason put it. Thomas Jefferson went further, declaring that paper is poverty. It is only the ghost of money and not money itself, is what essentially Thomas Jefferson said. A CBDC would certainly give governments more control than it has today. Facts. A CBDC gives governments a lot more control. But don't forget that the government's monopoly on money and the Federal Reserve's ability to create it out of thin air gives it a plenty of control already. In fact, the Fed is the engine that drives the biggest government in history. As already mentioned, the problem with fiat money, paper or digital, is the Fed can just fire up the printing machines and press and make more when the government wants to pay for something. That means there is virtually no restraint on government spendings already and on government power. But when the government just creates trillions of dollars out of thin air, it also erodes away the purchasing power. That makes you poorer, which is facts. They spend, we lose value. Very simple term. As Thomas Jefferson warned us, he said, we are to be ruined now by the dwelge of bank money. Paper currency is the parent of CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies is the same old dollar in a new form with the same problem as paper. Instead of printing new dollars, the Fed can create new digital dollars with a keystroke, which is facts, which is something that I also said a long time ago as well. I said, well, because someone asked me the question once on this live show and said, can't they just, essentially go back to their old roots on CBDCs? And I said, yes. I said, let's see how long it will take for them on CBDC money in terms of governments to ruin it as well. So we'll give governments maybe in a CBDC lifestyle 5 to 10 years before they start printing more money out of thin air and devaluing their CBDC currencies as well. So that doesn't go out the question either as well. In general, government money is as useful as toilet paper. It doesn't matter if it's digital, it doesn't matter if it's on paper, it's as useful as toilet paper eventually. Central bank digital currencies is the same old dollar in a new form with the same problem as paper. Instead of printing new dollars, the Fed can just create new digital dollars with a keystroke. Instead of dwelging of paper, we will get a dwelge of electronic digits. The economy has already moved a long way in that direction with the evidence of credit cards and electric payment systems. Granted, CBDCs create a new worries about privacy and control, and I don't want to underestimate that. But that is not the reason to suddenly embrace paper dollars as the solution to our problems. Because the longer you hold that paper money, the more worthless it becomes. That's another issue of paper money. Nevertheless, that's what a lot of people seem to be doing, holding their cash money. They're telling us we have to protect and promote the fiat US dollar to fight a CBDC because government digital currency is so bad. Which it is, but so is fiat. As one opponent of the government digital currency put it, I used to, the key word here, I used to be really critical of the Federal Reserve notes compared to CBDC. The US Federal Reserve note cashes will be wonderful. We will miss it when it is gone. Note he said used to be really critical of the USD. Apparently he's not anymore because CBDCs is so much worse. This mentality drives people away from the opposing original evil that led us here in the first place, paper government money, which is worse. It's important to remember that the Federal Reserve notes were always an evil move. Money in general is evil, the way it's used. CBDCs is all of that evil plus some more with CBDCs. But that doesn't make the original evil good or something that should be preserved, because they're both as useless as each other. CBDCs is for control, paper money is as useful as toilet paper eventually. So if you hold on to your paper money and still claim cash is king, it will be as useful as toilet paper the longer you hold on to it because they've essentially devalued it so much. And if you go on to CBDCs, you're stuck in control. So they're both useless as each other. So John Adams compared government overreach to cancer. This is what he said, John Adams. The nature of entrenchments upon the American Constitution is such as to grow every day more and more enriching, like a cancer. It eats faster and faster every hour. What do you do to cancer? You remove it. And when cancer is essentially metastasized, you don't just remove the metastasized, you remove it and the original tumor. No sane person would embrace the original cancer just because the new cancer is worse. The path forward, relying on paper fiat money, is not the solution. It might alleviate some of the problems of a CBDC, but it doesn't strike the root of the problem. The government might not be able to track every purchase if you use paper money, but it will still devalue your dollar every single day and expand its power while doing so. We need currency competition. That means finding sound money alternatives to federal government produced and controlled fiat money. This could come in a form of gold, silver, or non-government cryptocurrencies. It can even involve ways of transacting business we haven't even thought of yet. But we need sound money that is not subject to the Federal Reserve and government control and manipulation, which is all facts. Every single one of them was facts on the matter of CBDCs. People who are still thinking to themselves they can hold on to their cash, the longer you hold it, the more worthless it becomes. You go onto CBDCs, you're going into control. Both are bad. And essentially, as how John Adams put it, it's like somebody saying my previous cancer was better than my new cancer, which is worse. They're both cancer. In other words, CBDC is cancer and so is fiat money, because one is becoming worthless day by day, fiat. The other one, CBDC, is just control, which is also more worse. So solution, crypto. Better solution, the backbone of CBDCs. As I said before, 24,000 crypto projects. Only one has a CBDC platform. 98% of central banks said what? The Bank of International Settlements said 98 centralized banks are in CBDCs. Bank of International Settlements, banks of all centralized banks. So 24,000 crypto projects. One out of 24,000 crypto projects, only one crypto project is focused on CBDCs since day one. They have an active CBDC platform. They have multiple CBDC vaults, and their CBDC platform has also been used and is still being used. It's called Ripple. And 98% of the world is in CBDCs. 98% of centralized banks, according to Bank of International Settlements, banks of all centralized banks, 63 centralized banks, including G20. And I'm back. Your options are not to hold cash. Cash is an incredibly terrible option to hold onto. CBDCs is even a worse option. They're both bad. Cash is bad, so is CBDC. Alternative option, gold, silver. Better alternative option, cryptocurrencies. Better alternative option, the backbone of CBDCs, because CBDCs are going to happen either way. So a better alternative option is the backbone of CBDCs. You holding the backbone of CBDCs. Now, because people are so fixated that they're going cash, cash, cash. Yeah, I want to hold on to my cash. But you're not realizing the main issue with cash. Yes, cash has privacy. You're good to go. Nobody knows you spent the money. But when your money becomes worthless in cash, nobody will accept your money. So that's the bigger issue with cash, because it's becoming worthless day by day. So before you go running around and saying cash every day, all day long, remember one thing, it's getting devalued day by day. And CBDCs is even worse. They're both bad categories. Cash and CBDCs, they're both terrible. But they made you think that cash was good. They genuinely made people think that cash is good. Hold on to your cash. Why? So I could use it as toilet paper later on? Now, economy. Let's go through some economy news right now before I go through the economy news, because right now, with all the geopolitical tensions that's going on around the world, there's another issue going on as well. which is the EU and China are having debates and also some other issues of markets that are getting affected because of what the EU is doing to China and what China is doing back to the EU. Now, a bigger scenario of that is Canada just got involved. Canada also just got involved to back the EU against China. We're about to go through that, but before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first, because that's also going to be affecting the market space the longer this carries on and expands. Because when I first told the news to everybody, it was just the EU going against China and China going against the EU. Now it's Canada also getting involved, backing the EU against China. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first. Mouse and CMF was one of the main reasons I used Telegram in the beginning. Can't imagine life without Telegram now, lol. Let's go, Ray. All facts about holding the paper money. Let's go, Ray. Facts. Good night, Miles and CMF. Thank you for the news. Great life. See you tomorrow. JP, see you tomorrow, but same time as usual. Outstanding cancer analogy and cash and CBDCs though, bro. Let's go, Ray. Facts. Paper money will be in play for quite some time though, right? Yes, until they completely devalue it into the ground. XRP, XLM, XDC. Let's go, Thompson. Let's family. Let's go, Thompson. Economy news now. Of what's happening also. There's so many things happening in terms of geopolitical tensions, in terms of cybercrimes, and in terms of this is on the books, but nobody's talking about it except me and the news. But you gotta know where to look. Economy news. Canada joins the EU in trade war against China over electric vehicles. Now, you might be thinking, well, this is only related to electric vehicles. No, it started with electric vehicles, and the EU and China's debate got bigger than electric vehicles. It got to a point where agriculture is now getting involved, and in terms of pricings. So what's happening is EU is going against China because China is producing electric cars at a very cheap rate. This is how it all started in a very short, simple way. And now that Canada is involved as well. So the EU was receiving Chinese cars, Chinese electric cars, and they're very cheaply made and they're very cheap to sell. But the issue was that German car manufacturers were also producing electric cars at a much more higher price rate. So if the Chinese cars, electric cars came into the EU, then people would more likely buy a Chinese electric car because they're nowhere near the price. I mean, a top of the range, essentially electric car from Mercedes, you're looking at about £80,000, British pounds, or 80,000 euros or more or less, a little bit somewhere near that. But a Chinese car, you're looking about top of the range, about 20,000. So marginally massive difference for top of the range of this and top of the range of that. And the EU goes on about everybody should be living this green lifestyle, climate change, helping the world, help the planet. And they're telling everybody to buy electric cars. And on the other hand, you have China producing cheap electric cars so everybody can buy an electric car. But then the EU is saying, no, we don't want your cars. We want people to buy expensive electric cars from Germany instead of cheap cars from China. Yes, it will definitely impact the economy of the EU, but the Germans can lower their prices. And I know they can't lower it anywhere near the Chinese prices, but they still can lower their prices. So the EU is letting greed take over right now, but yet they're telling everybody to buy an electric car. And when the option is presented for everybody to be able to afford a brand new electric car, the EU shuts it down and raises the tariffs on Chinese cars. So what does that do? It hurts the Chinese economy. What does China do in return? Damages the EU economy by agriculture, raising the tariffs as well. Canada now just got involved to expand on this geopolitical tension. Canada joins the EU in the trade war against China over electric cars. This is going to be expanding into the financial markets the longer it continues. Canada has just added fuel to the fire. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's announcement of 100% tariff on electric cars. 100% tariff on electric EVs imported only from China, including Tesla models manufactured in Shanghai, marks a significant step in the country's trade policy. This decision comes aimed at rising tensions between the world's major economic powers, where each new tariff measures risk causing major upheavals in financial markets and further complicates the diplomatic, essentially, relations. All of this causes issues for who? Retail section, because These countries are providing items to each other. They're providing the supply and demand scenario. So if they're raising tariffs, because it started with electric cars and it led to food products with China raising the prices, the only people that get affected, essentially, is the retail section, because this started with electric cars, but it's led to agriculture, it's led to food products now with the debate. So grocery prices could be on the rise again. Why? Because Germany is in a greed battle with China and raising tariffs. And then on the other hand, I mean, Germany, essentially, the EU raising tariffs was about 30 to 40% of raising tariffs. 48% was the maxes they went to, so on, and 50%. But then you have Canada coming in, adding fuel to the fire, doing 100% tariff. The Canadian tariff policy. The Canadian government has announced the implementation of a new 100% tax on certain imports scheduled from October 1st. This measure, justified by Ottawa as the necessary response to China's overproduction practices, aligns with similar policies inside the United States and the European Union. So the US, Canada, and the EU are together to go against China in terms of tariff wars. Who gets affected? Retail section. Why? Because prices will start climbing for no apparent reason, because these three morons can't get along with each other. So we, essentially the retail section, have to feel the burn, because these three children, the Canadian government and essentially the US and the EU and China, so these four morons, they can't get along with each other. So who essentially feels this pain? Us, retail section. Why? Because prices will start going up again. So the Canadian government announced the implementation of the new 100% tax on certain imports scheduled for October 1st. This measure, justified by Ottawa as a necessary response to China's overproduction practices, aligns with the similar policies inside the United States and the European Union. Canada essentially accuses China of seeking to dominate, China accuses China of seeking to dominate international markets unfairly, which has led to this firm's decision. In 2023, Chinese vehicles imports at the port of Vancouver skyrocketed by 460%, primarily due to their shipments of Tesla models manufactured in Shanghai to Canada. This situation perfectly illustrates the growing influence of Chinese trade strategies on the Canadian markets and echoes the recent tensions between China and the European Union regarding taxes on electric cars. Furthermore, this new tax aims to encourage investments in the local supply China of electric vehicles, Canada thus seeking to position itself as a major player in this rapidly expanding sector. So Canada is very upset that China is doing ridiculous sales on their vehicles, electric vehicles inside of Canada. What I don't understand, well, I fully understand, but it's like these governments are all playing dumb. It feels like the Canadian government, the US government, and the EU government, and China's government are all playing dumb. Because wasn't this all about climate change, is what they kept on saying to people. They kept on saying to people, this is all about climate change. Buy electric vehicles, save the planet. It's more green for everybody. So wasn't this all about saving the planet? So in their own words, why not save the planet? Why not just release the cheaper electric cars so everybody can save the planet? Because it seems like it's not about saving the planet whatsoever. It's all about power and greed, back to the drawing boards. Because if it was about saving the planet, because they're so serious. You know, the US government, the EU government, the Canadian government, the Chinese government, all these governments around the world, they all come on the news and they're all very serious. We need to save this planet. Everybody stop bicycling everywhere, walking everywhere, driving electric cars. This planet needs to be saved. This planet needs to be... And then on the other hand, when they're introducing electric cars that are cheaper for people to buy, they're no, this is too cheap. Raise the prices. So I thought it was about saving the planet. What happened to that scenario? So it's got nothing to do with saving the planet. It's about profit at the end of the day. So nothing, but they're very serious on the news. You need to save this planet. This planet is going to die very soon. But then behind the scenes, it's like these cars are too cheap. Raise the prices. But I thought it was saving the planet. What happened to that part? China's reactions and potential consequences for the Canadian economy. China's response was swift to Canada. The embassy spokesperson of the Chinese embassy in Ottawa immediately denounced this tax as a politically dominated measure movement. He accuses Canada of floating World Trade Organization's WTO rules. The consequences of this decision on trade relations between Canada and China could be severe. as Canada's second largest trading partner after the United States is who? China. So Canada's largest partner in terms of trade, number one, US, number two, China. So if China and Canada are going to go into some battle of who can raise the prices more, who do you think suffers? Retail section. And what does that affect? Markets and your everyday life. So as Canada's second largest trading partner after the United States, China could consider retaliation measures by targeting Canada's strategic, essentially, exports, such as oil, canola, and other raw materials. Moreover, this situation could force automakers like Tesla to reconsider their productions and logistics strategies, leading to higher costs and disruptions in the supply chain. Through this significant decision, Canada takes a bold stance in trade policy. Bold stance. A moronic stance is more of a response. Bold stance. However, it risks causing repercussions, you don't say, in the global electric vehicle markets and the international relationships and every other market space, particularly in the face of China, always ready to retaliate with every measure possible. So, not only do we have geopolitical tensions happening around the world, high tensions, not only do we have freedom of speech on the line, human rights on the line from other geopolitical tensions, but we also have a tariff war situation going on with China and the EU and Canada and the US, and probably other countries will get involved, and they're battling who can raise the prices more. And all this started with electric vehicles. But it's just that part where they all claim they want to save the planet. All these governments, they all claim we need to save the planet, is all they say. Obviously, it's all BS. If you're smart enough, you'll be able to realize it's complete BS, this whole save the planet, climate change crap. But they all still say this on the news. We need to save the planet. We need to save the planet. Everybody drive electric car. Everybody walk. Everybody run. Everybody bicycle everywhere. And when a solution is entered for everybody to drive electric car, they say, no, it's too cheap. Raise the prices. What about the previous thing? Save the planet. Driving electric car. That's gone out the window because you're not making money. So that's gone out the window. Forget about saving the planet. We need to make profits. But when it comes to the retail section, save the planet. Save the planet. When it comes to them, no. Forget about saving the planet. Profit. Only profits. I mean, we live in a very interesting world. Very interesting world. Run by complete morons. And there's another group of morons that listen to these morons, which makes it even worse. But interesting world we live in. Very interesting world we live in. Now, Ray, thank you for the donation, brother. A red box welcome. Let's go, Ray. Thanks so much for the donation to the CMF fund. Well done, brother Ray. Let's go. The Canadian government are not playing dumb. They are dumb, is what Mike said. But it's an interesting, very interesting world we live in. So, we've also reached the endings of tonight's live show as well. If you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. This is episode 141. So back to back every day, I've been doing an episode of this live show. Now we're at episode 141. You can tune into this live show every single night. It's called the CMF Live Show. It stands for Crypto Mouse Family. I talk about the most recent things that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, geopolitical tensions. And if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. And we also have our own Telegram group as well, which anybody's more than welcome to join. It's completely free. The link is on YouTube. If you watch us on YouTube, on the About page, and on my X page as well. If you click on the link on my X page, there should be a link there for Telegram as well. Or just direct message me if you can't find the link. And you want to join a Telegram group as well. So if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. It's called the CMF Live Show. And on tonight's live show, we went through news topics like geopolitical price tariff wars that are going on right now, between Canada, the EU, and China. We also talked about paper money and fiat money and CBDCs. We also went through the news topic of Russia's central bank changing some laws and legislations for cross-border payments where companies can only do probably payments rather than retail section. We talked about New Zealand in terms of their release on their taxations, which means they're a step closer to the releasement of CBDCs. We talked about Hong Kong embracing essentially more into the crypto fields, embracing of becoming essentially a crypto hub, and they said it's the best time to jump in now, according to Hong Kong. We talked about BlackRock on tonight's live show as well. I talked about the news of BlackRock listing on the Brazilian Stock Exchange in terms of their Ethereum ETF, and Hong Kong talking about Ethereum stakings in terms of ETF as well. I talked about the news topic of blockchain database firm SXT, essentially having so much funding money coming in. And one of the fundings was Microsoft. One of their venture companies was Microsoft. And this blockchain project hasn't released yet to the retail section, but I am going to keep people updated just in case they do release. I also went through the news topic of NASDAQ on tonight's live show as well, regarding the NASDAQ getting prepared to list a Bitcoin index option inside the United States. I also talked about the news topic of Satoshi losing his control in terms of his wallet due to the corporations that are going to be overtaking the amount of essentially what Satoshi has in his wallet is going to be overtaken by Halloween, by the numbers are showing, in terms of corporations having more Bitcoin in their wallets than Satoshi does by Halloween. I also talked about the news topic of Nigeria versus Binance in terms of the CEO of Binance demanding the US to get involved right now because things are getting out of control in Nigeria in terms of Binance. I talked about Ton's situation in terms of the UAE getting involved, in terms of Russia claiming it might be Washington who's after Telegram and Ton. It's not just related to Telegram is what they're suggesting from Russian authorities. And the UN may be getting involved in Telegram situation as well. But tomorrow is when we're going to have a better idea of, is he released or is he charged regarding Telegram's founder? It's tomorrow. We're going to find out. Well, not tomorrow, actually. Tonight. Well, today, because today's the 28th. I just realized it's 1:15 a.m. Also, I talked about Ethereum's creator introducing ETHOS as well. Ethereum's creator introducing ETHOS is what's happening right now as well, which is a contender to Solana's smartphone. So we went through a multitude of news on tonight's live show and with Q&A as always. Let's go to the comment section first. Believe what we are closer than ever. Facts. Night Miles. Pablo, let's go. Thanks, Miles. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow. Orphan, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. Very interesting world indeed. You got it, Frankie, brother. Take care, Miles and CMF. Ray, see you tomorrow, brother, sometime as usual. Good night, Miles. Please don't have nightmares as the world is turning into chaos and freaks. Funky brother, let's go see you tomorrow sometime as usual. Great live, Miles. Thank you for all you do for us. Jason, see you tomorrow, brother, sometime as usual. Thanks so much for the kind words. Good night, Miles and CMF. Gotta go now because it's gonna shut off my lights. Gotta start up the generator. Mike, see you tomorrow, brother, same time as usual. Good night, Miles and CMF. Jason, see you tomorrow same time as usual. Stormy, good night all. Stormy, see you tomorrow same time as usual as well. Thanks, Miles. Much appreciated. Night and day to all CMF. Shelly, see you tomorrow same time as usual as well. Good night, Miles and CMF. Great news, Miles. Thank you. Free and forever. See you tomorrow sometime as usual. Good night, Miles and family. Lena, see you tomorrow sometime as usual as well. Great show tonight, Miles. Thank you for all you do for us. Good night, everyone. Troy, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. Good night, brother. Camel, see you tomorrow, brother, same time as usual. Thompson, see you tomorrow sometime as usual as well. I will see everybody tomorrow. Same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. And CMF, I'll see you all tomorrow, same time as usual.